Hello everyone, this is Prasad Patki from SIMMI Foundation. My subject of teaching is education as a field of study. In today's session we are going to learn the concept of education and characteristics of educational process. What is education from Indian perspective? In India, the concept of education is traced back to the Gurukula Parampara, which developed in ancient times. Basically, a Guru Shishya or teacher-pupil tradition emphasized the education of the student in ancient times. Two prominent words in Sanskrit, namely Shiksha and Vidya, also stand out as equivalents of the term education. The word Shiksha has been derived from the root word Shas, meaning to discipline or to control. The word Vidya is derived from the root word Vid, which means to know. Therefore, ancient Indian education stressed emphasis on two major aspects in the education of an individual. These are discipline and knowledge. A learner must be disciplined and develop a curiosity to acquire new knowledge to lead a fruitful life. What is education from Western perspective? According to some learned people, the word education has been derived from the Latin word educatum, which means the act of teaching or training. A group of educationists says that it has come from another Latin word educare, which means to bring up or to raise. According to few others, the word education has originated from another Latin term educare, which means to lead forth or to come out. All these meanings indicate that education seeks to nourish the good qualities and draw out the best in every individual. Education seeks to develop the innate inner capacities of an individual. In other words, education is the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, beliefs, and habits. The meaning and the nature of education keep changing in terms of time and space. To the people of the Vedic period, it did not mean the same as it did to those under the British regime. Nor do we, the people of the present day India, see it in the same way as our grandparents saw it a few decades ago. The people of communist China do not view it in the same way as do the people of capitalist USA. This implies that the concept of education is something that changes from country to country, province to province, depending upon the socio-political needs and philosophical ideologies they hold, the dreams and aspirations they cherish, the needs they hope to fulfill, and the problems they wish to solve. It is a process that is so complex and varied that to understand its nature, we need to have a deeper look into its various characters. We are attempting to discuss the various characters of the concept of education so as to enable us to have a deeper insight into the concept of education. Education as initiation. Scholars like Swami Dayanand believed that education begins in the mother's womb. The mind of the pregnant mother and the environment in which she lives have a shaping influence. According to him, expectant mothers should keep themselves away from the sway of evil words, unworthy sights, and unchaste thoughts, as these can cause a telling effect on the mind of the would-be born child. Other scholars like Godfrey observes that an individual's subconscious records and stores everything that happens in his or her life. Subconscious records almost anything. Even in the womb, the subconscious of the fetus is already registering impressions or feelings that pass through the mother's mind. Hence, the impact of the mother's feelings and emotions undoubtedly will have their impact on the fetus and its subconscious mind. Education is a lifelong process. It is not confined to the period of schooling a child goes through. Family is the first institution where the child is initiated into the world of knowledge through the process of socialization. Along with his social development, he also grows physically, linguistically, intellectually, and socially. Along with this learning at home, the child gets opportunity of formal learning as he enters school. In the structure of education, elementary education stands at the base, above which are secondary, and higher education. It is at the elementary level that youngsters are introduced in a systematic way to the world of knowledge. Education as bringing up of children. To parents, nothing in the world can be as important as their children. They are the future of the family, community, nation, and the world. How children grow does not merely depend on the love and affection parents shower upon them or how much money is spent on them. It also depends on how informed parents are and how tactfully and subtly they handle their day-to-day situations. Parents should bear in mind that the children are a long-term investment. They should stop making short-term decisions about them if parents wish their children to excel in life. Below are some of the important duties parents should perform while bringing up their children. Providing scope for exploration and discovery. Providing time for play and relaxation. Guiding children through code of conduct and timetable. Helping children nurture self-esteem. Education as socialization. The process of learning to internalize the values and norms of society into oneself, or the mode of learning to live in society, is called the process of socialization. To internalize is to imbibe so deeply that it becomes a part of the individual's behavior and personality. Socialization is a lifelong process that integrates an individual into a social group by making him learn the group's culture and his role as a member of the group. Thus, socialization is mainly concerned with the relationship between an individual and his society. Education as promotion of desirable behaviors. It was believed that whether or not an individual forms and practices desirable behavior depends on the effective use of reinforcement. Therefore, parents and teachers should strive to make proper use of positive reinforcers to mold desirable behaviors as well as promote learning. When children complete their homework on time, work hard on their assignments or projects, etc., by way of reinforcement, they should be given opportunity for doing things they enjoy by granting special privileges in the classroom. Thus, all our efforts need to be made in promoting desirable behaviors. When such behaviors are strengthened by positive reinforcement, they become habitual. It is our habits that make or break us. Parents and teachers should help children to develop a number of good habits. Education as reconstruction of experiences. Both philosophers as well as psychologists have held the view that education is reconstruction of learning experiences. Among the philosophers, John Dewey in his monumental work Education and Democracy has discussed education as reorganizing or reconstruction of experience. Reconstruction or reorganization of experience adds to the meaning of experience and increases ability to direct the course of subsequent experience. The school's curriculum is no longer seen as a document of important information, but instead as a set of learning events and activities through which students and teachers jointly negotiate content and meaning. This means that learners have to reconstruct old knowledge as if it were entirely new to them. Thus, comprehension and learning have come to be seen as meaning-seeking construction of learners. Education as total development of individual. Education of an individual is very often equated with his total development. Psychologists have identified three major forms of abilities in human beings. These are related to his knowing, feeling, and doing abilities. There are three domains of human abilities, namely cognitive, affective, and psychomotor domains. Hence, an individual is considered educated when his abilities pertaining to these three domains are developed properly. Cognitive abilities. This domain deals with the recall or recognition of knowledge and the development of intellectual abilities and skills. Affective abilities. Learning in the affective domain pertains to changes in interest, attitudes, values, and to the development of appreciation and adequate adjustment needed for the effective learning. Psychomotor abilities. Between the age of 5 to 12, children make great progress in developing physical skills such as coordination, muscular control, and manipulation skills. Physical skills are more accurately called psychomotor skills, as in humans there are no purely physical skills. All involve some mental processing. Once learned, such skills become programmed as a series of sensory motor responses. They become natural and durable. This is why dormant skills such as ability to swim or pedal a cycle can be re-established quickly after a gap. Education as liberation. Our sages in the past used to consider education as a medium for attaining liberation. They used to teach their disciples Savidya ya Vimuktaye. This implied that true education leads to freedom. However, liberation as it is perceived today has a mundane flavor. It speaks of freedom from dependency, from rigid controls, and ability to steer life smoothly on one's own. If we wish to liberate youngsters, we need to develop their capacity to think, to question, to recreate, to solve problems, to analyze, to synthesize, and to apply objective norms of evaluation. In addition, education should encourage them to pick up basic understanding of technology and inspire them to be technology friendly, as these are prerequisites for coping with the demands of the present world. Acharya Ramamurthy Committee 1990 has perceived liberation as freedom from the numerous prejudices based on caste, gender, religion, region, language, etc., from prejudices based on superstitious beliefs, from a variety of unfounded fears, and positively, freedom to explore, to investigate, freedom to accept beliefs. So students, this was an introduction to the subject education as a field of study. We will study this wonderful and interesting subject in depth in upcoming lessons. Taking your leave for now. Thank you.